Essay 3, thesis statements. The most important sentence in your essay is the thesis statement. Your thesis tells the reader exactly what your essay is about, the topic, your opinion on that topic, and the 2 or 3 main points that prove that your opinion is true. In other words, it looks like this. Thesis, what's your thesis? It equals the topic plus the opinion plus the 3 supporting points. The opinion is about your topic. Yeah, like it's something, if you like to say it with ice cream, and you might say ice cream is good, that would be an opinion. Now that's a terrible topic for an essay, as we will see, but that's what the structure looks like. Okay, all right. There are many things to keep in mind when constructing a thesis. Here's the first one, and this is what we learned in lesson 1 and lesson 2, okay? Or especially lesson 2. The topic must be narrow enough to cover effectively in the word and time limits of your essay. What does the word and time limits mean? Well, you may have 30 minutes, that would be the time limit, to write a 200-word essay. So that would be your word and time limits. If it's at home, you have as much time as you want, but the word limit, like the teacher might say, it needs to be 200 words, or it needs to be 12 sentences, or it needs to be 24 sentences. So those are the limits of how big it could be. In other words, you're not writing a book. Yeah, you're not writing a textbook on this subject. You don't have the time for that, and it's not expected of you. So you need to make sure that what you're talking about, you can say some important things about that in a small enough space. And we talked about all of that last class to do with limiting the topic down. Second thing, your opinion must be something that can be supported through facts, reasons, examples, and logical arguments. i.e., I like the color green. Now, is that a good topic for an essay? No, it's not. I like the color green is not an opinion that can be defended logically. It's just a matter of taste. All right, now here's the third point. There are many types of essays. Yeah, you might not have known that. You must choose the right one for the purpose given by your teacher. So here's what's called the descriptive essay. Descriptive essay, usually there's not like a big opinion point that you're trying to make. You're mostly conveying information. Yes. So you might be describing something in great detail. Oh my goodness, make a spill here. Like for example, like the logo for Starbucks. You might describe how it's green and how there's a star and how this girl looks like a mermaid with 2 tails, right? So you could describe that in a descriptive essay. Now, you probably wouldn't, if you're doing the logo, unless you wanted to talk about the popularity of the logo or how the logo has changed. Here's another one. It's called a narrative essay. And this tells a story or an anecdote, like a small story. And the purpose of that story is to prove some point. Yeah. Now, this is very effective and can be a lot more interesting for a marker to read. But you would not use this if you were analyzing literature. No, you don't use a narrative essay to analyze literature. You use a narrative essay to more make a point about life, the universe, and everything. Like, for example, if you were going to say that prejudice is bad for society, not beneficial to society or a detriment to society, any of those things, then you really great idea would to be use examples of something that happened to you or to some other person where they were prejudiced and then they hurt somebody. That would be really much more effective than just quoting facts like numbers or something like that. Okay, so that's the narrative essay. It tells a story or many stories. You might have like 3 different anecdotes, which is great too. Now here we got another kind. It's called expository. Now this analyzes, and often it can analyze an idea or a concept. Now that idea or concept might be found in literature or history or something else, right? So expository essay is often what you're doing. Now, I like to combine the expository with this one, persuasive. Persuasive essay attempts to convince the reader of an opinion. In a way, all four of them are doing that one, but this one is much more overt. Yeah, so persuasive essay is often used for like political issues, environmental issues, moral issues. A sermon that you go and listen to at church is basically a persuasive essay that is delivered to you, and it usually has 3 points. Yeah, that's right. The organization that there is just an essay, and they give an introduction to catch your attention. And usually, good preachers will do that, and then they go through their 3 points. Now they also combine it with expository. They also analyze the scripture, but it's not just analysis. I mean, you go to Bible school if you just want analysis. No, it also is persuading you to change your behavior and your viewpoint on life, so that you can become more like Christ and you can be more in line with what the scripture teaches. So there you go. Those are our 4 different essay types. Yours is largely expository when you're analyzing Macbeth or Lord of the Flies or any of the other ones. Your essay, of course, is going to be on Macbeth. So you're going to use expository to teach us something about some pattern that you found in Macbeth. Okay, now here is the 4th point, and this is what we're really focusing on today. Thesis statements must be parallel. This means that the 2 or 3 supporting points must use the same grammatical structure. Okie dokie. Like, for example, up here, remember we have our topic, we talked about it, and you have to narrow it. You have your opinion, it must be something that you can defend. You have to choose what kind of essay you're doing, and probably going to do expository. And then finally, these 3 supporting points must all be in the same grammatical structure. We're talking about parts of speech. Remember I said that was important? And you had a little grammar test on it, but more important than the grammar test is that you write a thesis statement that uses the proper parallelism, 3 same parts of speech. So here's 3 examples. Here are 3 examples. Thesis. Bob is a great skier. Now, Bob topic, he's great is our opinion. And this is pretty lame in terms of being a great thesis statement. This is not an expository essay. This is really just something you'd say, okay? But anyways, so here's, you could talk about Bob and have 1 paragraph about skiing, 1 about dancing, and 1 about boxing. But point being, these 3 are parallel. Skier, dancer, and boxer are all nouns. They are all nouns. Okay, good. And now they're a person, place, or thing. That's what they are. They are, in this case, they're people. Okay, now thesis, this is another thesis. Bob skis, dances, and boxes well. Yes, all of these 3 actions, they're all verbs. Now notice these 2 are almost the same. Yeah, so one trick you can do is this might be your thesis statement, and it goes at the end of your first paragraph. And then this might be your thesis restatement, and it goes at the beginning of your last paragraph. Yeah. All right, so you can change it, but say the same thing. Okay, now here's another example of that using infinitives. Bob loves to ski, dance, and box. Now these verbs are not used as verbs. They are used almost like objects. They're called infinitives. Notice how it says to ski. We could say to dance and to box, but in English we leave off the 2 for the second 2 because it's just too repetitive. All right, so then that's what it looks like. And so we're using 3 infinitives. Now we're going to get into what you have to do. Now it's your turn. Create a thesis using nouns and verbs. All right, so here's 2 examples. Here's one using nouns. The most important novels in English literature are To Kill a Mockingbird Lord of the Flies, and Great Expectations. Okay, so those three novels are the main subpoints. All right, and those are all nouns. They're all titles. They're all proper nouns. Okay, here's another one using verbs. Ralph is the best leader because he acts decisively, speaks with authority, and cares the most about getting rescued. Acts, 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 speaks, and cares are all verbs. All verbs. Good. This is your turn now. Don't do it yet. I'll explain all four of these, and then you can get to work on them. Create 3 thesis statements for Macbeth using nouns and verbs. So you could say 3 things about Macbeth right here. Now this is the play Macbeth, so you could also talk about Lady Macbeth if you wanted, or anybody else in the play. And so you could say 3 things about Macbeth. You could say 3 things that he does. You could say 3 things that Lady Macbeth or Banquo or Macbeth do. All right, or the witches do, or say, or are. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's using nouns and verbs. Now we're going to see you can also do the same thing with adjectives. Here's 2 examples. In Denton's Daughter, Buck is a round character. All right, that's our topic and our thesis, our opinion. Now we got because he is. Now here's our 3 adjectives: funny and intelligent, but also lazy. So I got 3. I could have a paragraph about each one of those: funny, intelligent, finally lazy. Hey, now here's in The Lady or the Tiger. The princess motions to the door with the tiger because she is, now I can use 3 adjectives to describe her. She is jealous, resentful, and semi-barbaric. Good. Okie dokie. Your turn down here. Following those examples, use adjectives to create 3 thesis statements about any of the short stories that we read. Okay, here is our 3rd activity. Create a thesis using adverbs. Now you might have forgotten what an adverb is, but an adverb often has ly at it. It's modifying a verb or another adjective. So here's an example. The instructor is very effective because she teaches clearly, slowly, and methodically. And then I would have a body paragraph about clearly, about another one about slowly, and another one about methodically. When I see that sentence as your thesis, I know the structure of your essay. That's why it's so important that you write a very good thesis statement. Here's another example. Running quickly, steadily, and often. Often doesn't have ly, but it's still an adverb because it's modifying the running. It's telling you when you're doing the running. Often. Produces the best results for fitness. Okay, now this one's kind of interesting because I put my 3 points, I put them at the beginning of the sentence instead of at the end of the sentence. So produces the best results is my opinion, and this is how I'm proving it. Yeah, cool. Okay, so now you have to do the same thing. Write those thesis statements, use ly words or fast or often or words like that about things that you like to do. Yeah, some things that you like to do. All right, here's the last thing that you have to do. It's going to take you some time. Create a thesis using clauses. Now, if you can't find 3 adjectives or 3 adverbs or 3 nouns or 3 verbs that all say what you want to say, then you might have to go the clause route. Let me explain. You remember what a clause is? A clause is basically a sentence. So you're joining 3 sentences together. And in this case, you're actually joining a lot of sentences together. So here's our subject, Vancouver. Here's our opinion. It's a great holiday destination. Now we have the supporting part of it. Here's our 3 reasons why. The climate is mild. That's our one clause. You notice how this, if we took it out all by itself, it could be a sentence. It could be a sentence all by itself. Here's another clause. The attractions are not too crowded. There's another clause. And The people are friendly and nice. That's a third clause. Okay, so now your job is to make 3 thesis statements about a holiday destination. You choose your own destination, and you have to use 3 clauses. So you pick a great holiday destination. Okay, that's your work to do.